So now I think we are on live on YouTube. Today we just have Ana Clara and I to talk about how I how we can improve your creativity. And for the people who was watching us on YouTube, I will talk. I have a little explain about the platform and how it works. Platform Talking Talk is a platform to improve our English skills, so we can hear like improve principle or speaking in other languages, like for example English that you are immersing today, Spanish, Mandarin, Italian, French, and in the future, I believe we can improve and put more languages to develop. And I think that I feel it's a real, it's really important talk. It's about like have to put our face like to deal with that about like learning a new language and they make mistakes. And with that, we can like real learn about the language, how we can speak better and the activity our fluency. So that is. Ana Clara, you know how Talk Talk works, so if you can introduce yourself, please.
Okay, so hello, I am Ana Clara. I'm 26 years old. I'm from Araruama. It's a city in Rio de Janeiro, in the uh, region or Região dos Lagos in Rio de Janeiro. I'm a civil engineer and I have been working in a technology company to uh, constructions field since 2022. So it's been a long time that in this area, in customer success area. Um, on my free time, I like going to the beach. As I'm using this t-shirt because Itaúna is where I learned to surf and to stay with my friends at the beach. So I love going to the beach. I love playing sports um, and be on movement. It's what I like to do.
Real nice. Nice to meet you. Something that I think that is for me it's a little funny because like even I lived in some cities that don't have beaches, but I lived in Fortaleza for 3 years, and my biggest dream is like to learning how to surfing, but I didn't get yet. Maybe on future if I lived on littoral, I had like opportunity to spend a parody on literal I can learn it, but even I know skateboarding, but the surf for me is like yeah, real challenge. Maybe in future I can deal with that.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity to learn and uh, the feeling of surf a wave is a, an amazing feeling. I think you will like.
Yes. So talk about the surfing and other things. Today we're gonna talk about the creativity. I know this topic could be so like I don't know how to explain that, but like just concept is like don't have like a real construction definition, but have be free like to express what you think about that, and if you don't have like a real construction about like some conceptions we're gonna discuss today, it's okay too because I prepared these questions, but for be honest. I don't make like how I can answer each question. So let's feel the movement. Like you said, you like to be in movement, so let's feel the vibe.
Okay.
So, can you read and answer the first one, Anna, please?
Yeah. In a few words, how would you define creativity? So for me, creativity is the way that you do something, some activity, in a different way, um, instead of people usually do. So when you are doing something new, um, not the same that everybody does, um, when you think about when you have another idea for usual things of the day. So I think I can define creativity as new ideas for something that is usual in our daily routine or in the road in general. And you, other thing?
I really like your definition. So, in my opinion, creativity is sometimes could be some difficult, like how we can be creative. But for me, be creative when you perceive like you do your in a unique way. For example, we know we are a construction about like what the reference we get like in our life is. Even we have like the same points of view or same like constructors like we study in the same school, we have a similar family. Even with that, like if the same, we have like different things in our that occurring on our lives. So when we have like some way to do with that, and understand that, I believe like this is creative, like express what you think, and express like what the life is made with you. So I believe like creativity is a construction that involve like these things. But it is like for me it's like a concept more abstract. Sometimes like we know we have like for example you are from exactis area, so I believe sometimes it's difficult like be creative in some ways, but in other ways we can like have another idea if even when you have like a more closed area, we can like propose another thing. And I believe like that is be a creative, like to understand like a new way, like you said before.
Yes, yes. On an exact area, we have a lot of datas and numbers, and use creativity. Uh, be creative in this area. It's an opportunity as well. So how we can manage these numbers? How can we show uh, different in a different ways? When I was choosing I what I would do in the future during the high school, I had this difficult because I am a creative person, but I love numbers. I love the math and one is one, two is two. So for me, it was difficult because of this. But nowadays, I could found a way to be creative in my area, or uh, not just in the area, but in life in general. I think everybody can be creative in some way.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
Mm,
So I will read the next one.
okay.
Do you believe it's possible to have a truly unique idea that's extraordinary and has no similars to anything else? Why or why not? Like I said before, we have, I believe like we are a construction, like another reference, like for example, something that I feel like is real funny too, is because when I was child, uh, a unique thing that I thought is like I will not be equal like my father or my mother. I will be different. But when I grow up, I perceive like I have like a similar traits with them. It's something that the people repairs, and when I look to myself, I perceive like so. Yes, I had some good points, like what the construction about myself, but yeah, bad ones too, unfortunately. But I know we can improve better as possible. But about like have a truly unique ideas, I really don't know if it's possible because like even we perceive like we have a area of informations like we saw like some, for example, or some arts that some people thinks like he is from an artist, but he is we perceive like it's just a copy of that, like other artists like he understand the trace of the other artists and just reply that. And then we have AI that is some problem with from some artists, uh, and it's could be some problem, but I believe like what we said before about like have a different ways to think and how we can do some different things about the some closed areas or different areas, and from that I believe like we can be a creativity, but have a truly unique ideas. I don't know if it's possible in your area, but I believe we can have a good ideas. I believe that is possible, and be creativity is a possibility too. We don't have like to close our minds and just think like, oh, everybody knows, everybody have the same informations on the world, on the internet. But I believe like we are free, so we can search anything that is accessible. That's my what I think. How about you, Anna?
Yes, I was thinking here, and in the past, I think maybe have extraordinary ideas was easier because information or because people was thinking and creating new things by the zero. So, for example, the light or the uh, TV, I don't know, the internet. So to have extraordinary ideas, I think not easier, but was more common to have in the past than nowadays. So I think this, but nowadays it's possible to have a different idea that can change the the year, the date, I don't know. So I think it's possible to have different ideas, revolutionary ideas. Um, but nowadays we have a lot of information. Um, we can recreate. We can not copy because it's illegal to copy something that people do. But I think nowadays is more flexible to have ideas and change an idea that have has already has been invented. So yes, I don't know if I exactly answered the question, but in general, in the past, I think was uh, more easy. It was easier to have different and uh, you know innovative ideas, and nowadays is a little bit different because we change the inventions and we recreate and we improve something that already exists. So that is it.
Very good. I believe like the next question could be a challenge like to how you can like if you can really and try to answer, because I
Yeah.
believe like is have a relation.
Okay.
The number three, please.
How can we draw inspiration from reference without it becoming a form of imitation? Um, yes. Um, for example, I when I read here references, I remember about the TCC in the final of the college, and it's a way to have inspiration. You read something that someone um, uh, wrote in the past, and you have an inspiration, think about your idea, you put you in that place. Because for example, I made a, a search about something, about planning, scheduling, planning, and I had the new answers um, uh, from a group of people. So it was different from, I don't know, another author that uh, wrote the article, for example. So I get the inspiration, I read, but I create my reality, for example. So I think we can have different, a lot of inspiration, but bringing this to our reality. So maybe a draw, a picture, but get this and put in our society, in our routine, because it will be different. For example, if you saw an image for a beach, for example, I will have an inspiration, you another, because you don't live in a place that had beaches. I live in a place who have a lot of, so we will have different perspectives. So yes, how we can draw this inspiration is this, to have the reference, but put this in our reality, to think and to uh, put our, how can I say this, our identity on the thing, I don't know, that you we will uh, create. So that is it. And what do you think?
The example about TCC, I believe like that's the best one because like it's for me was very difficult because I had some idea and I have to search another reference and things like that. And I believe like is like to rearrange ideas like but like for example, I made a TCC is a little complex to explain. Even like the title of my TCC is so big because like my orientor, I don't know if it's the correct name for the teacher who follow you on the process, but he said she said to me like to try to focus on a subject like to not follow in some errors because I had a few time to do the TCC, so I have to focus. So it's something like real interesting because it like it to put some perspectives, some concepts in a different way. It's put your identity. I believe like what you said is a real what is that what I think like put your identity, put your what was your point of view. I took some photos too, and there's some exercise when I took some courses about photography is like he put a same scene from everybody. Like for example, a man sitting on a chair, but he said like to each person like how we can oh my gosh I how we can like to photograph this scene and how we can like to put more energy or put more melancholic or things like that. And it's a really interesting because each person had a different perspective about that. Like we can photograph like in some way, like we can see like if like more bigger than each the reality or put more down, have a different perspectives, and it's a real real nice because like each person, even we have like the same equipment, if we have like the same scene, we can like have so different and unique images. So from me is something that put your identity and how we can see the world I made some work involving photography last year. Like last year was real, real recently, but I have to deal with that. But follow, I took some, I made some portfolio with a reference about some photographs that I like the work, and when I put on the work on do the job, it was real different because like it's a different persons that I follow. The light was different because I took some photos like in the, I don't have like to control the light just with the daylight, the sunlight. So was very difficult in the beginning because like we have to understand like in the time you have to be more focused like if you had if you lost like 1 second you have like all seen. So I believe like it's some way like we can like for example have to follow some inspirations but not copy. I believe like you put your points of view and your what you feeling about that. I say the more things involve like arts because it's my area, but I know we can do like for all different areas to involve that.
Yes, everybody has a different creation, a different routine, and education. So I think everybody thinks different. Uh, I don't know if you saw on internet some people uh, creating. Oh, I don't know how can I say this in English. But do you know when we were a child and we had like masses, massinha for para modelar, massinha de modelar. I don't know how can I say
Mhm.
this. And people see the look to a picture, for example, a duck, and need to create this.
Yes, yes, I see this
Massinha.
trend. I saw this
Yeah,
trend.
and everybody does in a different way. It's almost impossible to be the same of the reference. So I think it is some people don't have ability, or some people never saw a duck, for example, in real life, so don't have a perspective. So each one have a different life and perspective for it, everything. So just this to add.
I was just searching like how can say something involving like the next question. Do you think introducing ideas from one field into another context is revolutionary? Can you think of any example? Uh, I graduate on design, so I saw some examples like in university, like some disciplines, and the good one that I think is real revolutionary is involving Velcro. I don't know how to say because I search and it's the same word in Portuguese, but I don't know how is the accent to say this word,
Mhm.
but it's real interesting because it's like involve like a biomimetic, like to put like some example in the how it works in the nature and put in another field, and it's a real interesting because like some people perceive like how to mechanism about some plant like to catch that and they make some perfect grip. I don't know if it's correct how to say, but it's real interesting like he put like he perceive as something how works in some area and put a different area, and so that I believe like is real interesting, and I believe it's revolutionary like you said about the how express data and things like that. I believe like when I'm not a big fan and I didn't a lot about like that data area, but I know that was some revolutionary because like in other times it's just to show some slides and in some graphics, but nowadays we saw some dashboards like more involved, like to how we can express some ideas, like just not information, but like how was the work, how impacted the business, and I believe like it's really interesting. Like I put another ideas with something that in other times is just more it's just that and that. Nowadays we can like to focus in other areas and put like things like that. I believe like it's some revolutionary. It's some way like how we can be creative, like put some things in your repertoire. I don't know if it's correct repertoire. I will share that after. But the in other fields, I believe like it's a real interesting way to be more creativity. And how about you?
Yes, I'm thinking in an example. Um, maybe data's data's in different fields. For example, uh, you said about dashboard. So, uh, someone who have a small company and don't do the things just by the feeling, by the the learnings on during the time. So if you have data, you have dashboards to have more to be more exact of your actions. Maybe can be something. Let me see another example. I don't know. It's difficult. I think maybe it's not an idea, but something that I'm seeing um, a lot uh, increasing is um, the customer success area. So people don't in some years ago didn't look about this, about the success, the pains of the customers, and have the products and the service to the client, not uh, whatever the person is thinking. So small business and big business are looking a lot for this is uh, the product based or to the client, not to another reason. So maybe this can be not revolutionary, but I think it have a revolution in companies and in business that look to this. So you are even the the things or the business that is not a big business. For example, you go to a doctor and the doctor is sitting in the chair and don't ask you so many questions, just do the consulting 3 minutes. It's different that that doctor that asks for and ask you different questions about your family, your uh, stand up to uh, direct you to the door. Like the treatment is different, so maybe can be this. Very difficult this question.
But I like your examples. I believe like it's a some way like to express like how to deal with the experience because like we saw I saw in other times like it's something that not every enterprise thinks about that like what the product is like just a product that I have idea and that is, but nowadays we saw like some enterprise like looking for that, have specific areas from that. I am suspicious to talk about that because I am product design, so I like this area. And nowadays I am transition of area, but like the business that I work in, the core of the business is about the be more humanist and like more near from our clients. So it is real important like how we can deal with all situations, like to understand the pains, understand like what the really matters from the clients, because even we looking for some products, sometimes we just looking for that because it's just the option that we had, but that it will not like resolve my real pain, for example. But
Mm-hmm.
nowadays I believe like some enterprise looking for that, and for me it's a real good because like if you had like a product and services like that real works and real attends our pains, attends our necessities, is a real good because like everybody makes happy, like the clients are happy, the enterprise are happy because like we have more money, and the people say the good things about that, and he grow up more. I believe like it's a real strategy area, and I believe like in some ways a creativity in that too. I don't know like when that emerges this idea, but I believe like it's some way like to have a creativity in the business.
All right.
All right, can you read the number 5, please?
Yeah. When you try to give form to an idea, do you think it's easier to make it a reality? What do you think that is that is? Mm, you try to give form to an idea. Um, I think the first step is to uh, make a brainstorm. So I try to have some ideas and to think, and then I try to write down my ideas, and then I, depending of the situation, what the idea is for. Yeah, yeah. I separate and think about in different boxes. For example, when I need to do a project on my job, um, I try to I do this brainstorm. I think about the purpose. I think about the stakeholders for who I will deliver this idea, or if this idea is for me, I act in another way. So I think it's easier have a plan and manage this in a clear way, and of course ask to another people. So if it's to my customer, I like to answer for them, uh, if the idea is making sense, or ask about the pains. Um, so I think with planning, management, and talk with uh, the stakeholders, or uh, with the person or the group of people that I will deliver this idea, or even for me, I I have this step to plan, manage it, and back to the idea. It's not so good. I try to make the cycle again. So I think in this way, uh, it's easier to bring this to reality. And why do you think that that is? Yes, basically this that I said. I think when you plan, when you organize your ideas, organize. think about the purpose of things is easier to have form. And you, and for you.
I am the same thing like that like they about like right now. Even the same in the first step is not like something that makes sense from other people because it's for me like when I had to put some idea or have to create something or like to just bring some lamp in myself like oh I think that like I had to write down in this the same in some form in the first step like even some sometimes even I don't get like what I write down and then don't understand like what I have real to get with these ideas but I believe this the planning I believe is something like real important because for example in a creative area some problem that I had is when I don't have like a script and things like that sorry I believe like is more difficult because for example we don't have like something more even I am a creative person sometimes I have to be more something like to put like a limit for me. I believe like it's really
Mhm.
important because like something some enterprise asked to me in some interviews, and I believe like it's the most difficult. It's like if you had like don't deadlines, we don't. If you have infinity budget, what you will do? It's something like for me is really difficult because like you can put like infinity ideas, but this the real purpose is like how you can solve some problem but it's a
Mhm.
real difficult when we think about like infinitive ways and I believe I and the team like likes to write down sometimes like to draw or make some mind maps I and the team like likes to put mind maps like to if I can connect some concepts and with that we can bring like the idea from the reality even in the beginning like is some idea that you think like is extraordinary the end like is not the same but that is the idea we know in
Mhm.
the sometimes we mind something but in the reality the construction and things like it don't get like this the same way we thought earlier.
Yeah. And it's okay the project fail. Not fail, but you have an idea and you have the conception, the construction, but at the final it's not good and we will not continue with this idea, with this development. Okay, let's try to go in another way. I'm not in the I am not in the product area, but I have a lot of conversation with the product area because I work in the area, so I need to have this conversations, these changes with product manager, the PMs, and uh, whatever. So they work a lot with this uh, to create ideas, to create a new feature. So it's very interesting. Sometimes it's not um, how you will do uh, something, is why you will do. So they think a lot about the reason, not the result. First the reason, and then the result. Not I changed the word, but they think about the result, the reason, but not in the how they will do. They need just to deliver the result, the purpose. Um, yes, I think you understand. Understood.
Yes, I get that. It's like the max about like the product areas, like to not just have attention about like what you delivered, but why you deliver something.
Yeah.
It's something that I think is incredible because sometimes we just made some things like to things like, oh, that is impacting the business and things like that. But some things is we just have to change something like to real have that big impact in the company and the business.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. And the other thing, like you said, I real agree too, is because like sometimes we don't get like the idea, but in the other time you just put on the drawer, and the other time you can bring back this idea, and it's something like
Hmm.
it's real good too.
Yeah.
So I will read the next one. Is music a source of inspiration to you? It's to you what I put. I don't believe I put to you, but I believe it's inspiration to you. If so, how does it influence your creative process? For me, music, and I am a people that real like to listen to music and things like that. That influenced me too much. For example, on the weekend, I I believe it was on Sunday. Yes, on Sunday. I was tired and I just start to listen some music. It's not for a creative process, but try to sleep. And I put some instrument music to listening, and I listen it too much. And after that, like it's more calm. And after that, I put some more rock instrument, and perceive like how changes for me. Like for example, I was just like my eyes closed, and after I put some guitars, my brain, like my all bro, like was vibration with the music, and I don't get like to put more, like for example, like to have a tired and just calm. I was just like excited, and I believe like music influence from other that. I know some artists that had a criterious playlist when we have to create something specific, and I believe like is amazing. Sometimes that works for me, like to listen to some music, like to create something. But sometimes I like to be on silence to create something, because from me depends about like the activities. Sometimes I prefer to be more in a calm place to think more slowly how I can deal with that. Even we had like some music. But I remember in university, a good way to study in the beginning, for example, is listening to bossa nova. I put like not too loud, but I put some bossa nova and I start to read some books, and that works for me. And how about you? You are the team music or the team of silence? Or depends on the contest.
Yes, for me, music is not a source of inspiration. Most of the time, I prefer listening to music just um to make some operational things. So something that I don't need to think. So I don't know, to make some registration about a meeting that I had, or write down, copy, um, I don't know, fill a form. So something that I don't need to think a lot. I prefer listening to music. But when I am creating, I'm trying to think, I prefer the silence, and um, it makes more sense, or it is easier for me to think, not to listen, just the silence. Um, yes, for I think in general is this, since the high school, since the school, I had this difficult to listen a music and study together at the same time. I prefer just to copy, to feel something, things that I don't need to think a lot. I like to listen to music, but as inspiration or uh, creativity, I think music is not so um, don't help me a lot. The silence is better.
Very good. I believe like each person have the different things like how we deal. I remember I saw some things that work so good like with lounge music and things like even like write down some ideas and things like that. And from me, the most time don't work too, but if for other persons or for other people work. So
Yeah.
everybody is a different person.
Yeah, there is a music that I like to listen because there isn't lyrics that it's lo-fi. Lo-fi
I
or
know.
lo-fi.
Yes.
I like this one to listen and maybe have inspiration or to relax and think about the life. But just lo-fi because don't have lyrics. And when the music the it's not the lyrics, it's the melody maybe. The melody is of a music that I know it's bother me because I want to sing together. So it needs to be a lo-fi that I don't know to don't bother me or to atrapalhar, I don't know, the my my thoughts.
Very good. So you can read the next one, number 7, and
Yeah.
answer.
Do you think stepping out of your comfort zone and consuming content you wouldn't normally enjoy is important for creativity? Why and why not? Yes, I think it's important to consume different areas or different content because you can have different perspectives of life. In the beginning, I said uh, about we have different perspectives. We will look to an image and we everybody will think in another way because we have different creations, different perspectives of life. So when we uh, consume the different content, we can uh, not maybe improve the creativity or we can gain different materials and different um, knowledge about some topic. So I think it helps. And
I believe it's really important, but some things boring me. Like I said, yeah, I like the music, and sometimes I had like to explore like the Spotify what the it suggests to me, and sometimes he made a good work, but sometimes not good. Like for example, I remember I listened to some types of musics, and every time he suggests to me to listen like Secos e Molhados. I like it a little bit, but I'm not a big fan. But every time he suggests to me, it's sometimes like boring a little bit to me. Even I is something different that I not like the same taste about that. Like I heard, but not yeah, I'm not a fan about that. But sometimes it's a little different, a little difficult to me, like to deal with that. Like you have to consume different things, like to explore and gain more repertoire. But sometimes can be boring because, like, for example, cinema. I'm not a big fan. Even I had to study a little bit from my university, but I'm not a big fan about cinema and classic movies. I like there some ones, but not every more famous movies like everybody like says are more cute. But but I think it's important like to take a chance because sometimes you can like or not. but to have a opinion, I believe like it's important because for example, you can like some movie like you think is incredible, and I'm not able to say like it's incredible or not if I'm not experience that. But some experience, I believe like you have to put more effort like to have that and things like that. That is.
Yeah. Yeah, there there is another question here, number 10. I think it's good. Can I ask you?
Yes, of course.
Is when you face creative block, what strategies do you use to overcome them? I think this is good because a lot of times I have these blocks, and for me, what makes sense or the strategy is just to stop and take a walk, drink a water, or do something totally different, and then I back. And I am a morning and day person, so in this hour, like 8, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., I I'm no one. So I'm just in here talking English, but I'm like, I think in the morning I could be better talking than at night. So I sleep, and the other day I continue doing the thing. So I think this is the two strategies that I have and you.
I believe fresh air is really important. Uh,
Yeah.
I moved recently, and I don't have grass and things like that. It's a small apartment, and for me, it's a little difficult because sometimes I like to take some sun and look for the nature. For me, I'm not a city person nowadays. I believe like I like to be in the interior. Even we have to put about the professional area and things like that. But if I had a chance, I want to be more some place that I could had like these moments, like to fresh air and things like that. But the blocks about creativity is something like very common from me. Even I am a creative person. I don't. I'm not like the person like every time I had the creativity. Principal when we have like to deal with something that you put some effort and you have to some people that you had to deal with that with you like you I don't know how to say cobrar I forgot the word but when you have like this different like creativity like you have to be creative but you have like to and face like time and the budget and other things sometimes we facing about blocks but something that you said before is about the planning and managing and I believe like it's real good because you can just to wait some idea will emerge and all the things were good we have to planning that how we can be bring more strategies for example you say about brainstorming and I believe like when we just have one mind thinks about something it's sometimes it's difficult when you have like more people like involved in that and express different ideas.
Okay.
So, Ana Clara, I believe like that it was a real good talking. When I had just two people, sometimes could be good and sometimes not because even with this topic, I believe like sometimes it's difficult like to think about it, talk about more subject areas. For me, sometimes it's not, but from other people I know could be a more difficult. But I really appreciate this talking. I will put the survive because is the oh my god it's not Sandy. Yes, that is good because that's the script about the talking and I don't know if we had another immersion on this time, but if you want to say something real quickly, you had time about what you think about immersion.
Okay. Yeah, it was amazing. Thank you. It's very difficult to talk about creativity, and with just it was just me and you, but it was a good experience. Thank you. I will back.
Mm. So have a good week, Ana Clara, and see you soon.
See you. Bye.